Urban Legends time. People thought that the Joker movie and the bad marketing behind it was actually a very clever plot to drive interest into the film. Is that true? Hey there, this is Perch. There was this little, I like conspiracy theories. I like these little urban legends that are usually not true, but they're fun to think about. And in comics, there's been plenty with different creators and people who liked other people, and there's a whole kind of wild conspiracy theory that's starting to make the rounds. I don't know why now, but that the Image Six was all kind of a clever, sneaky plot of Marvel at the time in order to deliberately tank the business so that it could be sold off somewhat on the cheap, but a small group of people could gain the money from Disney. That's called playing the long game. And it's completely not true. But it was an interesting. We'll talk about it another time. It's a fascinating theory. I want to do it justice. But the one that's on the surface for right now is kind of more timely, and it's that the Joker movie, which was released in October, was more of a billed as more of an art house Joker, not traditional Batman Joker. Batman wasn't in it. Didn't have the big flashy explosions and other things. More of a psychological take, a taxi driver like take of Joker, and was winning awards in Cannes and just the sources that did not necessarily translate to big U.S. box office sales. And so, in order to make sure that that movie made some money, Warner Brothers, owned by Time Warner, now owned by AT&T, also who owns CNN throughout its kind of branched ownership strategy, basically went hard in the paint against Joker of it being dangerous and incel bait and bad for society and it was going to just basically wreck things. People were going to be, spontaneously exploding with pent up when you're talking about incels, that could be kind of gross, but just pent up emotion, and it was just going to be terrible for America, and that this was all kind of a big sneaky way to kind of use reverse psychology, reverse marketing to drive people into the theater, and you know maybe that's it's an interesting theory. Here's kind of where I took a stand on it when this first started to come out, right before the movie came out, and CNN was really hardcore running stories about how this, and when CNN runs a story, a lot of the kind of affiliate news stations then also run the story. It's one of those things that kind of they can report on the news and they can make the news. But a lot of people started doing it. And at the beginning, it just felt like really more of a takeoff from the from the Aurora shooting, the horrible shooting that happened at Dark Knight Returns. People thought that the shooter there was kind of being the Joker. Turns out just had crazy hair. But at first it didn't feel like it. It felt like legitimate kind of we need some news to tell, and hey, here's this movie, and it's a Joker, and it's going to be a little bit more violent. It's R-rated, and we've been wanting to take a good lunge at superhero movies, but couldn't really find our angle with Endgame and Spider-Man. But this one is perfectly tailored to a nice, good attack. And so let's drum up some nice controversy about incels and Joker and violence and media perpetuating violence. News loves that. So I wasn't on board. It felt too on the nose for what news likes to do normally anyway. And I'm also of the belief that these kind of reverse marketing stunts have a higher percentage of going bad than going good. Meaning, yeah, it's great if you can manipulate the audience in such a way that they're going to want to see the movie that you're kind of bagging on, but you have just as great a chance or more of your media coverage actually working. And in today's very polarized society, I think playing around, mucking about with the news too much, yeah, you may draw in half the country, but you would repel the other half, and it's not good marketing. I mean, at the end of the day, for movies to succeed, whether it's Joker or Captain Marvel or Michael Bay's Transformer mess or whatever it happens to be, you need to be able to attract from the right and the left. You can't really count on. I mean, you can thread the needle and put out a movie that's going to appeal to just one side and not the other, but you're really taking a huge gamble. You're far better off finding a way to thread the needle and or not thread the needle, I should say, and appeal to both political groups and just have a movie that people want to watch, regardless of whether they love or hate the president. So I didn't buy it. I thought that this was a bad plan. But then it was the Gary Glitter story where after the movie came out, then it started to really go on to, hey, one of the songs in this film that was originally sung by Gary Glitter, and he's a convicted child rapist, and he could get proceeds. And when that news story hit, it started to smell funny. It started to really feel like they were digging for anything they could do to get at this movie. And it didn't feel organic anymore. It felt manufactured. It felt like either somebody had a crazy vendetta, and granted, plenty of people in the media seem to have crazy vendettas on both sides and all over the place, but especially on one side right now. But it just started to feel less organic. And then on top of that, I'm somebody with reasonably long memory. I understand that's not where the country's at right now and where a lot of people at, but I remember. I've taken the member berries. I remember there was a Fox News did a kind of big outrage piece against Billy Madison, and Billy Madison used this same song, and they went hard at like, oh, now this it's getting replays on TNT or TBS, which at that time Turner Broad, and they were using it to take a swipe at CNN, and they were basically inferring that Ted Turner is happy giving money to child rapists. And CNN correctly pointed out that, hey, the guy's in jail. He's actually not getting any royalties. That's not going to happen. This is fake news and, outrage bait, and people should stop it. This is back when CNN was attempting to be a news station and hadn't joined in the fray of cable news opinion shows and all the rest. And like you had Larry King opinion show, but that was a different cry from today. But this was back when CNN was like, we're not going to stoop to that Fox News level of having opinion shows and flashy graphics. We're newsmen, damn it. And then, then different things happened as the years went on. But anyway, the fact that they went back to the same story that they themselves debunked felt weird. Now, granted, they could have forgotten, but it also felt too much like they were deliberately kind of trying to keep the movie in the headlines and kind of do this kind of see, dangerous movie doing dangerous things, bad. And I think it worked. So I'm going to say that this conspiracy theory, I'm going to go with true. I think that there was a bit of an effort there on the Time Warner kind of media conglomerate to drum up interest of this film for being a super dangerous, edgy, you should watch it because it's so dangerous kind of movie. And I think they used their media arms to do it. And I think to success, the movie made quite a bit of money. And clearly it wasn't just incels who bought movie tickets. It was others. So, okay. I'm using incel, the word ironically here. I still don't even think that is a thing. I realize I'll get comments, but I mean, Jesus. I mean, can we? It is funny to me that back in the 80s, you had a lot of movies where the dumb, mean jock would go, look at these stupid nerd virgins, and they were the bad guys. And at the end of the movie, the nerd virgins would get the ski girls, the bunnies, into the hot tub, and then there'd be a journey would play, and everybody was a winner. But now incel is used as like, oh, those dangerous incels. It reminds me, the people who use that always feel like the dumb 80s jocks who are throwing this term around, and yet now it's okay. It's okay to make fun of nerds, I guess. The whole thing just is stupid. Anyway, I think there's some validity to the idea that this was all a big kind of marketing stunt and a ploy to get people into theaters. I do. What do you think? I'm curious your opinions. What do you think about this conspiracy theory? Do you think there's merit to it? Leave me a comment below. Like, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Comic Perch. I'd love to know what you think. Or maybe it's all just crazy. It is a crazy world anyway. Thanks for listening.